4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Biglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. We got some fun news to start off with. Let's go right over to the fun stuff. Okay, and we're going to go watch
This is Anne.
Aldi.
Anne doesn't like Aldi. Here we go.
Well,
So, you don't like fresh 100% British beef?
We like these award-winning nappies. Yes, we do.
you don't like craft gin? You don't like tea, do you?
How can you not like special buys?
Or getting more than you bargained for?
Yeah, I like all of that, obviously. I'm just not all that keen on the logo.
The logo. She doesn't like the logo. She doesn't like being seen there. That's what the real deal is. Okay, now let's get over to Tom Fishburne. What is digital transformation? Okay, and the boss, I think this is the boss, I don't know who it is, says, are we aligned? Are we all aligned? Which I think is an interesting verb for this question, that our top priority is digital transformation. Of course, absolutely, 100%. So what exactly do we mean by digital transformation? Sorry, I'm late for another meeting. Yes, exactly. Okay, so a recent report, and this wasn't that recent because I did click on it, found that 94% of businesses said that digital transformation was high on their list of priorities, and 51% said they're moving on these priorities in the next month, and that was last year. Yet a separate YouGov study found that 54% of employees either don't understand, 20%, or misinterpret the meaning of digital transformation. When more than half of the employees are confused about the meaning, it's not a surprise that McKinsey determined that 70% of digital transformation attempts fail. Okay, so the term is fuzzy. Real digital transformation is rewriting of existing enterprise so that listen to this, so that your physical product becomes smarter, your go-to market models become more digital, and your internal operations become at least 2 times as efficient. Your physical product becomes smarter? Okay, so this is Procter & Gamble. So Tide is now smarter and 2 times more efficient. I have no idea what he just said. 5 stages, from automating your accounting kind of stuff through stage 5, where you not only have changed your processes, people, and other rewiring, but your organizational culture becomes completely digital. It's bots. Okay, I guess it's bots. That's all I can figure out. I can't figure it out. And here's some more stuff. Are you ready to meet about digital transformation? We can't see your slides. Do you need to download the video plugin? We're restricted to IE7. Okay, I tried to email the slide deck, but it bounced back. Our file is limited to 1 megabyte. Dropbox or WeTransfer blocked by our firewall. Google Docs? Yeah, right. I'm not sure how to present to you. Can you fax it to us? Yeah, okay. I actually there was in OpenOffice, old versions, you could actually build an HTML and you could find a spot for it on one of your sites, and you could do perfect PowerPoint type presentations that were just an HTML link, nothing fancy. And I did it in utility companies, which are blocked by everything. They said no one else has ever been able to do a remote video and slideshow. How did you do that? Yes, well, I do digital transformation. Yeah, baby. Anyway, let's get over to the real news. We don't feel like real news. Let's go over here to the PDF. Okay. Digital transformation is not something we should rush into. Okay? And this is from The Drum. I always like The Drum. Too many brands are rushing to digitize their businesses. Uber created an illusion that digitization is something that can happen overnight. Now, you got to understand, Uber wasn't trying to remake the cab company. They were just trying to say, here's the location of the rider, here's the location of the driver. Let's put these two together and figure out a way to pay. The first time I used Uber was in Rome, and it took me 45 minutes to get my Google Wallet to work right. After that, it took 5 minutes for this stretch limo to find us in the middle of nothing next to the Pantheon. I couldn't believe it. And I've never had that quality of Uber since. But anyway, at the airport, you had to walk away from the terminal in order to not have the Uber driver get beat up by the cabbies. Anyway, so Uber created this digital illusion. But this guy says changing a legacy IT system isn't a quick fix and could take up to 10 years. Yeah. And I've seen more companies basically completely wrecked by willy-nilly deciding to change their ERP system so that it's got better graphs, better charts. Heck, we can take all your data out of the most legacy system. Mike down at Design Toscano, who founded it, the founder, I asked him when he's going to get rid of that Smith Gardner system he's been running on for 35 years or something. And he said, maybe after I sell the company, they will. And that thing ran on HP 3000s, which came out in the 60s. And you know what? It ships the stuff. On the other hand, I've seen 3 or 4 companies switch off of it. Oh, more than that, probably 6 or 7, and just have their companies ripped to shreds because they couldn't ship the stuff. And I'll tell you, your customers care a lot more about shipping your stuff. And if you want to know the magic of Amazon, I ordered a new alarm clock on Saturday afternoon, and it was there Sunday morning in the mailbox, probably delivered by USPS. Amazing. I don't even know what to think about that. That's so amazing. Not that I needed it. I couldn't have cared less. But I was a little uncomfortable ordering it direct from China full of coronavirus, I guess. I'm going to quarantine my items. I don't know how you quarantine. How do you quarantine? I can spray them down with bug spray or something. Okay, so in this same article, 80% of companies believe they offer brilliant customer experience, yet only 11% of their customers actually agree. That is a bigger issue. Worry about that, right? And it's probably not your order processing system. I mean, I've gone into warehouses. One client asked me years ago, he said, our order form says we're shipping within 32 working hours. And I said, what? I said, so if I order on Monday afternoon, you're guaranteed to ship it by Friday? They said, yeah, is that deceptive? I said, no, that's incompetent. Let's go out in your warehouse and see what you're doing. And I went out there, and they had all of their warehouse organized by part number, by the actual number. And I said, did you ever hear of velocity shipping? No. I said, you sell little plastic bottles. Why don't you? I bet 20% of your items are like 80% of your sales. They said, yep. I said, why don't you take those 20% and put them on gravity feed system right here in the right by the front door, and I bet you can fulfill at least 80% of your orders same day. They said, do you think that'll work, John? I said, yeah. So we did some other things, and we made them some money. But they called me back two weeks later, and I said, because they were complaining about people wanting to ship it FedEx and not wanting to pay extra for it. I said, well, how long does it take? That's how we got on this thing. Anyway, so they said, hey, John, now we're shipping 95% of our orders same day. 95%. Just for rearranging the way they stock their shelves. Had nothing to do with their computer. Oh, my goodness. Okay. You automate the boring bit, then move your employees to a place where they can enrich the customer experience. Yeah, well, if your order fulfillment and tracking isn't automated by now, yeah, that's where I'd start. Anyway, that's nice. So I wanted to just here was senior leaders can't even define what digital transformation means. Okay. Lastly, I'd wanted to talk about how Twitter tests a feature to correct fake information. And of course, the question is, what's fake information? And here's one about the coronavirus. Definitely is man-made, and that turned out to be false. Yes, it did. And here's one about how before the hearings, how the whistleblowers didn't have firsthand knowledge of what actually happened, and that turned out to be true. Unlike that, and this week we had the opposite was true. It wasn't really fake. It really was pretty much straight up. And and here's one from Bernie Sanders saying that 40% of guns sold don't have background checks. I don't know. I've gotten 2 given to me, and I had to get background checks. So I don't really know, but it turned out that Twitter flagged that one. So, but what are we here? Oh yes, another Russian collusion one from an anonymous source that CNN went all in with, and Jake Tapper said, "Oh, it turns out that the source overstated the case quite dramatically." Yep. Okay. So CNN corrected that one over the weekend. You might not have heard that, but it's tricky. What is true is always tricky. And as a history major and a philosophy master's, truth is elusive. But, I think if there's serious question, you might want to highlight it. And at least then we'd know that somebody doesn't believe it, and we can back it up with more information. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm much better with this than I am with just making it disappear or not allowing retweets. So it'll be interesting to see. This is a very difficult